In this gripping video, Amarachi, a young woman from the city of Lagos, breaks a sacred tradition in the mysterious village of Izeoka. By looking into a mirror at night, unsettling whispers and eerie reflections blur the line between reality and the supernatural. Witness how ancient warnings come alive, forcing her to confront the hidden power of ancestral secrets. I heard whispers in the dark and saw the shadow move on its own. I never thought a simple thing could bring such strange happenings. I was in Izeoka village, a quiet village where the night seemed to hide old secrets and unseen eyes watched everything. I grew up in the city of Lagos, so all these warnings sounded like silly superstitions. I did not believe in spirits or curses. My father had told me to visit my grandmother for a while, so here I was in her small house, filled with old photos and the smell of burning firewood. I saw a strange figure in the mirror that wasn't mine, and it whispered my name. I never believed that a mirror could hold dark secrets. But that night in Izeoka, everything changed. My grandmother was a small but lively woman with sharp eyes that seemed to see right into me. While she was boiling yams on a clay stove, she looked at me and said in a low, serious voice, "There is something you must remember while you are here." I was distracted by the cricket chirping outside and barely looked up as she added, "Do not look at mirrors at night. In our traditions, it is considered dangerous to look into a mirror at night, as it may invite bad spirits to possess you." I barely glanced up, thinking, it's just a mirror. I asked, "Mama, why is it dangerous?" Grandma stirred the pot slowly and replied, "The night belongs to the spirits. When you look into a mirror at night, you don't just see your reflection, you might call forth the spirits that protect our home. And if they are driven away, something dark could take their place." I laughed softly, dismissing it as a silly superstition. Later that evening, after Grandma had gone to bed, a strange curiosity took hold of me. The old mirror hanging in the hallway glowed in the moonlight, beckoning me closer. I thought, I'm just curious, it's only a mirror, and I walked over, ignoring Grandma's warning. I stood before the mirror, staring at my reflection in the soft glow of the moon. For a moment, I noticed something odd, a shadow behind me that wasn't mine. I shook my head, trying to dismiss it as my imagination playing tricks. But then, as I gazed deeper, my reflection began to change. The eyes in the mirror darkened, and a twisted smile appeared on the face behind me. My heart pounded and a chill ran down my spine, as if the mirror was drawing in the secrets of the night. I tried to look away, yet my eyes remained fixed on the glass. The reflection seemed to whisper silently, its voice soft and eerie. It was as though the mirror was calling out, inviting something unseen to enter. Trembling, I stepped back from the mirror. But when I looked again, the image had shifted. Now, I saw not only my face but also a dark, shadowy form standing right behind me, its presence impossible to ignore. Panic gripped me as I staggered away, my heart racing. I tried to tell myself it was just a trick of the light, the figment of my fear. Yet, deep inside, I knew something ancient and ominous had been summoned. I hurried back inside, locking the door behind me. The house was quiet again, but it was not the kind of silence that feels safe. I climbed back into bed and pulled the blanket over my head, whispering, "I'm just imagining things." But then I heard it, the soft, whispering sound. At first, I thought it was just the wind in the trees, but the whispers grew louder, overlapping like voices speaking in a language I did not understand. My heart pounded as I sat up, feeling as if something was watching and waiting. Suddenly, there was a knock on the window. I whipped my head around, but saw nothing except darkness. Panicking, I ran to Grandma's door and pounded on it, calling, "Mama, Mama, wake up." The door opened slowly, and my grandmother's calm yet serious face appeared. "Amarachi," she said softly, pulling me close. "I warned you." I stuttered, "Mama." I looked at the mirror, I didn't think anything bad would happen. Her face darkened as she grabbed my arm and pulled me into the room, shutting the door behind us. I warned you, child, she said in a low voice. The night belongs to the spirits now. You have angered them. I felt my breath catch as I asked, Mama, what do I do? How do I fix this? Grandma reached for a bundle of dried herbs hanging on the wall and began muttering a prayer while preparing a small fire in a clay pot. You have called something into this house, Grandma said steadily as the bitter smoke filled the room. You drove away the protectors, and now something dark has come in. This is no ordinary spirit, it feeds on disobedience. I could barely speak, my mind racing with fear. You mean it's like a ghost? I whispered, trembling. Grandma nodded gravely. Yes, a restless spirit that comes because you broke the rule. Now, we must cleanse the house and call back the spirits of protection. But you must promise me, no more doubts, no more breaking the rules. I quickly nodded, my pride gone. I promise, Mama. Please, help me, I pleaded. Grandma handed me a small clay bowl filled with a dark liquid that smelled of bitter leaves. Take this, she said, and walk through the house. Sprinkle it in every corner. Do not speak a word, the spirits listen, and they must know you are sorry. My hands shook as I took the bowl and stepped into the cold hallway. With every step, the shadows seemed to ripple around me. I sprinkled the liquid in all the corners as Grandma had told me. As I moved through each room, I could hear faint whispers growing louder, sounding like angry voices arguing far away. I fought back the urge to run, determined to finish the task. I sprinkled the liquid in my bedroom, then the sitting room, and finally in the small hallway leading to the front door. The moment I finished, the whispers stopped, and the house fell into an eerie silence. I turned to go back to Grandma's room when I saw it again, the shadow standing in the middle of the room. My heart dropped, standing behind the shifting shadow that looked like smoke with no clear face. I felt its cold eyes on me and my voice stuck in my throat. Mama! I screamed. Just then, the door to Grandma's room burst open, and she stepped out holding the burning clay pot. The smoke rushed toward the shadow as she commanded, You do not belong here. Return to the darkness from where you came. The shadow hissed like the wind through a crack, its edges unraveling like worn cloth. Before it completely vanished, it pointed a long, smoky finger at me. Grandma quickly pulled me close as the shadow faded into thin air. For a moment, the house was silent again and the heavy feeling lifted. Grandma looked at me with a mix of relief and stern anger. Do you see now, child? Some things are not to be questioned. You are safe for now, but remember, spirits do not forget. Tears streamed down my face as I whispered, I understand now, Mama. I'm so sorry. I will never do it again. Grandma's expression softened a bit, but she said, It is not me you must apologize to, but the spirits. They will decide if they forgive you. Sitting together in the flickering light, I realized that some rules are born from fear and others come from truth. In Izeoka, truth walks with the spirits. The next morning, I woke to birds chirping and warm sunlight streaming through the window. Even though I felt safe, my heart was still heavy with what had happened. Grandma was in the kitchen, boiling water. When she saw me, she asked gently, Did you sleep? I shook my head, still thinking about the shadow that had pointed at me, and I asked, Mama, why did it point at me? Grandma sighed deeply and motioned for me to sit down. That was no ordinary shadow, child. It was a restless spirit that feeds on mistakes like yours. When it pointed at you, it left a mark. I stared in surprise as she gently touched my forehead. The spirits see you now wherever you go, she explained. They will remember what you did. This does not mean they will hurt you, but you must be careful from now on. I felt a cold knot in my stomach as I realized this was not over. Mama, what can I do? I do not want to live like this, I asked, desperate for a way to make peace with them. Grandma went over to a small wooden box on a shelf and took out some strange objects, a few shells, a bundle of feathers, and a tiny clay figure. She placed the clay figure on the table and said, "Tonight, we will offer these to the spirits at the edge of the forest. You must kneel, speak your apology, and promise never to break the rules again. If they accept, they will let you be." That night, under a high, bright moon, Grandma and I walked to the edge of the forest. The air was cold, and the only sound was our footsteps crunching on the dry grass. Grandma carried the wrapped clay figure while I held a small lantern. My heart pounded with every step as we reached the forest. Grandma set the figure down, sprinkled white chalk around it, and handed me a small bowl of palm oil. "Pour this on the figure, then kneel and speak from your heart," she instructed. With trembling hands, I poured the oil over the clay figure and knelt on the cold ground. The shadows of the trees seemed to stretch toward me as the wind whispered softly. I closed my eyes and said in a shaky voice, "I am sorry. I did not believe it and I broke the rule. I didn't mean to offend you. Please forgive me. I promise I will never do it again." The wind picked up, and for a moment I thought I had a faint, mocking laugh. But soon, Grandma touched my shoulder and said, "Stand up, child. It is done." When we returned home, I went straight to bed, exhausted but filled with hope. By dawn, the heavy feeling in the house was gone and the dust that had haunted me was nowhere to be seen. Grandma greeted me in the kitchen with a small smile. "They have accepted," she said, "but remember, the spirits have long memories. Do not test them again." I nodded, my heart filled with relief, knowing I had learned a hard lesson about the old rules. From that day on, I never looked into a mirror at night again. I carried the memory of that long, eerie night with me, the lesson in humility and respect for the unseen. Whenever someone laughed or ignored the warnings, I would say, "I used to think the same, but the spirits here are real. They do not care if you believe or not, respect the old rules, or you will regret it." And so, no matter where I go, the sight of a mirror in the dark sends a chill down my spine, a reminder never to break the ancient rules again. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments about what you learned from it. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, share it to your friends, then subscribe to my channel for more fantastic stories just like this one. Thank you for being a part of this journey.